Hi everyone, welcome back. Firstly, we'd just like to start with thanking those people who jumped on board last night when we launched our very exciting program, the Be Free program, online program. And I'll just say up front, if you want more information about this, you can check out last night's live, or you can certainly contact us via Facebook or our email. But today, as the title suggests, we're going to touch on something that most people don't really talk about. And I'm going to share a personal example, and I apologize in advance if it triggers some people. But truth be told, I kind of hope it does trigger some of you to start to look at yourself a little bit differently. So tonight, what we wanted to do is we want to talk about what happens when you give up on yourself and why you should stop. So after a few, probably about 12, no, it would be about 8 years ago. About 8 years ago, after some health issues and then some recurrent miscarriages, unbeknownst to me, I gave up on myself for a variety of reasons, I suppose. But as I shared in one of the videos before, I kind of felt like my body had let me down and I was probably pretty angry with it, and I just gave up. But I didn't know that that's what I was doing. What I found myself doing instead is coming up with a whole heap of excuses as to why I couldn't look after myself, why I wasn't going to eat properly, why I wasn't going to train anymore, even though I'd had really clearly established habits that were in line with looking after myself. I ate really well. I trained in the past. I'd trained every day. And yet I found myself coming up with a whole heap of excuses. The truth is, if you want to look for excuses as to why you can't look after yourself, you're going to find them. If you're going to look for excuses to why you can't achieve success in any part of your life, you're going to find them. And it's really, it doesn't kind of take much effort to find a host of excuses as to why you can't take the necessary steps and actions in order for you to take or experience really good health, happiness and well-being, or even in any area of your life, even if it's career or anything else. And I realize that although, yes, we focus very much on health and well-being, a lot of our lives recently have been about mindset. And it's because we could give you the program, we could give you nutrition guidelines and training programs, but unless we get the mind right, it'll be short-lived. It's not something you're going to take with you and sustain for the rest of your life. And that's really what we're about. We're not out to just sell a program and say goodbye. We want you to live the best life possible, whatever that means for you, because it's different for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's about breaking that cycle, that almost perpetual cycle of behavior where you do something really well and then for a short period of time it's successful, and then all of a sudden you find yourself back to where you started, and people don't really understand why that happens. So that's why mindset is huge in what we do. But basically what we're talking about today is giving up on yourself means really taking the easy option. And easy options are largely attributed to why most people find themselves where they are today in terms of their health and well-being. If it's a business that they always wanted to open and haven't, whatever it is, it's usually the idea of taking the easy option. And taking the easy option simply means that you're just continually feeding your unhappiness. You're unhappy, and then you decide you want to do something about it, and then all of a sudden all these excuses start to pop in, and then you say, oh, it's easier to take the easy option. That's why it's called the easy option. And then all you're doing is just feeding more and more of that unhappiness. So when you say that you don't have the money to do something, when you say you don't have the time to do something, when you say you don't have the energy to do something that's going to really benefit you and make you happy and make the people around you happy, what you're really saying is that I'm not worth the money, I'm not worth the time, and I'm not worth the energy. And what you say to yourself, keep this in mind because it's really important. What you say to yourself has far more impact than what anybody else can tell you. It really is all about how you perceive yourself and what the conversations you have about yourself are. Are they uplifting, empowering, or are they keeping you stuck in this endless cycle of wanting to do something and then finding excuses why you can't or you shouldn't or it's not the right time or whatever it is?
So when you remain focused and committed to achieving your goals, so we're looking at the opposite example here now, regardless of your circumstances, you empower yourself and you break free from what many refer to as a victim mindset. And it's not about thinking that the world is against you. We don't mean that.
Although sometimes it is.
We simply mean that you hand over your power. You disempower yourself every time you come up with a whole heap of external reasons why you feel unhappy or why you're in the position that you're in. The only position where you can do anything really to change that and to start to transform your life, regardless of what it is when you take that power back and understand that you are the only one who can change things. And yes, that is hugely empowering, but it's responsibility too. So every time you make a promise to yourself that you don't follow through with, you become less able to rely on yourself. And that's something that we mentioned before. And it is a statement, as Stephen had said before, that you don't place a priority on yourself or on your life.
Yeah. You are no longer a priority. And so what you're saying is that work, family, whoever, friends, whoever it is, or that chocolate cake or whatever it was, in all seriousness, they are a higher priority than your health and well-being and happiness. And that's not the most ideal way to live your life. It's can be very self-destructive, and it oftentimes is, because you start to resent yourself, but you don't realize that it's you that you're resenting. So you project it outwards and you start resenting people, situations, life in general. And it becomes a very toxic environment for you and anybody else who's around you. And really, it's not really a pleasant way to live. And so the idea of this video is just to tell you that you have complete control of your actions, and you know that the decision that you make will impact you the most. And so if you want to do something, start by doing anything, whatever it is, rather than falling for the whole habit of finding excuses. Oh, it's not the right time. It's not the right time of year. It's in the middle of summer. It's too hot. People aren't interested in my business, or whatever it is. Or it's too cold, and I don't want to train in the cold. Or my friends are going out, and they're going out to this chocolate place, and so I'm just going to start on Monday. And so it becomes habitual, this kind of thing, where and because it's happened for so many years, it becomes automatic, and most people don't even realize that's what they're doing, that they're taking the easy option and making a statement that they're not actually worth being happy and healthy and successful in whatever it is that they're doing.
Unfortunately, what that means, and the case was for me, that it took many years for me to realize I could recognize the patterns of behavior. I could recognize where I was starting, and I started really well, and then I would pull back. As soon as I'd started to have some kind of results or success, I would then pull back and revert to old patterns of behavior. And I couldn't understand why. Why, when you're starting to get results and you're starting to feel good about yourself and you're starting to feel happy, why would someone just step back from that. And you hear people talk about self-sabotage, but it's really not about that. I didn't realize, and it wasn't until I made that realization, that I'd just given up. I'd given up on myself. But it's not a long process. I didn't have to analyze why. It just doesn't matter. I didn't have to analyze why. I simply had to recognize I had done that and then start to take steps to make myself a priority and to show myself. It doesn't matter about anybody else. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks or feels or anything like that. It's simply to show yourself. I had to show myself that I was worth it. I was worth making a priority and doing the things that I knew were going to bring me happiness, that were going to bring me good health and well-being, because I want to be around for many, many years. And I don't want to, come down with or contract a disease. And we think about it, it's dis-ease. And it's something that you create the environment. Perhaps that's a topic for another video. I won't delve too deeply into that. It's simply about having that awareness and understanding that what's behind those patterns of behavior is quite often that we've just given up on ourselves, and then taking action in order to start to change that.
But the reality is that it's not the excuses that are holding you back. It's the idea that you don't feel like you're worthy of it, that you are not a priority. And you'll hear us say this quite often over many videos that we're going to do. Most people don't realize that they are not a priority in their life, that so many other things sit above them. And so it's easy to go, it's too expensive, it's too time consuming, it's too much effort to do those little things to get me to where I really want to be and the type of person that I know that I am. I've seen people in the supermarket talk about priorities. I've seen people in the supermarket who buy really expensive organic food for their pets. And you see the other food that's for them, and it's all just really cheap, prepackaged rubbish. And you think to yourself, what's more important? I know we love our pets, but really, what's more important? Is it giving our pets the expensive organic food, or is it giving ourselves what we really need in terms of good nutrition, training, and a very healthy and positive mindset, and a good outlook on life? And it all starts from making yourself a priority. And you do that by making commitments to yourself and sticking to them. And it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be earth-shaking. Even if you're trying to start a business and you've got a job now, it doesn't mean that you quit your job and go all in on the business. It just means you start doing something on the business that you want to create, and then slowly kind of put more energy and time and money into that. And all of a sudden you'll realize that, hey, you know what? This business is going really well. I don't need my job anymore. I can just do this full time. And it's the same thing about health and well-being. It's you just do a little bit, just invest a little bit of money, invest a little bit of time, invest a little bit of energy, and then allow that to build on itself. It's almost like a goodwill bank to yourself. And you just continue investing in yourself. And all of a sudden you realize that, hey, you know what? I'm feeling a lot better. And not only that, I'm looking a lot better. And I'm seeing the world through different eyes because I see myself through different eyes. And so this is one of the key points to take away, is that make yourself a priority. Just be aware of in the areas that you're not, and then adjust your actions, your thinking, your whole outlook, your whole mindset to be in line with what you actually want.
So we like to leave you with a tip or a strategy. And so what we find is that if you're finding it difficult, just start with one thing, as Stephen alluded to, just one thing, one change. So one change that you know if you either stop having that or you add something in, is going to make a difference. Everyone makes changes, progresses at their own pace. And that's something we've found with the Be Free program, is that there are some people who come in and they grab hold of the program and they grab hold of the nutrition and the training program, hi Carl, and they run with it. Absolutely jump in, both feet, no questions. And they fly all the way through. It's not to say they don't have their challenges along the way, but other people move at a different rate. Some find they don't have any problems at all with the training, but the nutrition's more challenging. And so a strategy that we put into place with some of our clients is simply to say, well, start with breakfast. Just start with breakfast. Don't worry about the other meals at the moment. Just focus on making that one change. Or we had somebody who was drinking a lot of soft drink, diet. Even they're saying, but it's diet. It's like, well, you look at what's in that, it's all the chemicals that are going to do damage to your body and act as toxins in your body. But they started with simply just making a decision to remove the diet soft drinks from their diet.
Yeah.
And they made a decision and they kept the promise to themselves. And they started with that. And once they'd mastered that, they then add on, make another change. So you don't have to, jump all in and run with it right from the beginning. And you shouldn't put that sort of pressure on yourself.
No, it can be overwhelming, really, for most people.
So you go at your own pace and you make changes and you implement changes at your own pace. And that's, I suppose, the beauty of the Be Free program, is that you're not left on your own. You have support all the way through, both from the people that do the program, but also from us to step you through and to help you overcome the challenges and obstacles along the way.
Yeah, and there's no pressure on you hitting certain weight targets. It's not like you have to lose so many kilos in whatever, because we don't really focus on body weight. We focus on the health. In fact, we actually tell people not to weigh themselves because that can screw with your mind, because your weight fluctuates depending on the time of day, the time of month, what you had the night before. So it really doesn't matter. If you're addressing the health issues, the weight will take care of itself. So if this interests you and you feel like you need to get more information and inspired to take this to another level, take your health and well-being to another level, then please either leave a comment or jump on our website, which is livewiseproject.com, and you can send us an email through there, and we can get in contact with you, give you some more information, and we'll see how we can work together to transform your life. We're not about changing people's lives. We're about transforming them, because we can change you for a certain amount of time, and then you might be back to where you started. But in terms of transformation, it's at a core level. So you are doing it for yourself. We just help you along the way. And because for us, it's about you building a resilience within yourself, building an ability to believe in yourself and self-reliance. It's not about relying on anybody else, because we probably won't be around forever to hold your hand to get you through the difficult parts. We'll be there as much as we can, but you need to be able to do it for yourself. And that's how we measure success, is how resilient and self-reliant people are. So with that, I think it's time to go until our next video, which will be a mystery because I don't know what it's about. And so for now, thanks for watching. Really appreciate all your support, and have a great night. We'll see you soon.
Good night.